Hey everyone, Michael Lamoth here, and today I want to talk about something I'm putting together to help people eliminate objections on their calls. And I'm looking for about 5 people, give or take, to kind of go through this with me, because I want to turn this into a course. Now, I include this right now in my high-ticket program. It's one of the first things we do, and I'm going to walk you through it and see if you're a good fit. If you want to have me work with you and build out a complete call framework, the course of probably a couple calls. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. If I'm just going to do maybe a 2-day event type of thing, or do it over a 7-day thing and just do it a couple times here and there. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you build out everything else. So let me just, let's just jump into it so I can explain it. All right, so it's the Zero Objections Call Framework Build With You workshop. And these are the things we're going to do. So basically want to really customize something that's going to work for you. Using a script right now, someone else's script or something, I want to find something that's going to work for you. This is so important, right? Because you have to be 100% congruent and authentic. And a lot of people try to fit themselves to someone else's script. Sometimes it works, a lot of time it doesn't, okay? So the first thing I want to do is there's some requirements. So you're going to have to book a call before you can get approved into the program, because I'm not charging anything for it. So I got to make sure the people are a good fit. They're going to do the work. Because, I'm going to give it a chance. I don't normally do things with not charging. Like my first instinct is to charge, I don't know, like $500 up front. And then when you go through it, you get your money back, trying to make sure people show up. But we'll see. I'm going to go with it. That's why I'm going to really looking for the right people, because I want to make sure I can turn this into something that I don't have to be there for, right? It's going to be a little challenging as far as making that work without being there, because you're going to see it's a lot of things that we're going to work together on. So one of the first things I'm going to do, if you look here on the pillars, is we're going to get on a call. I need to learn about your program, everything about your program, okay? Probably be a half hour, 45-minute call tops, maybe an hour tops if we get into it. And I just really want to learn about you, what you do, and then more importantly, like if someone's working with you, what are the 8 weeks, what are the 12 weeks look like, right? So I'm going to get all that stuff, all the stuff you would never tell a client, all the little details. I work on this, this, and this, and we work on this, and we do this, right? And then from that, step 2 is we're going to create 3 to 5 pillars. And from that, we're going to take all that and we're going to build your call framework to basically expose the problems that they have. You'll see I'm going to get into it more here, but it's basically we're going to use those pillars that when we create all the questions just to uncover those holes in their process, in their life, or whatever it is, that your pillars will fill the gap, right? We're going to build out your top objections lists, right? So we can work that into the framework with stories, real things, not just made up stuff, right? That's why it's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to be life-changing for sure. And then we're going to work on, if you don't have this already, you should do this even if you don't want to be one of the 5 people, I should say. Jeepers, I can't talk today. But you should have a pain book, like a Google Doc or something, where it has all the problems, things when you're on your calls and someone says something. I remember I heard several people say, it feels just like I'm drowning on my calls, right? I'm like, I've never heard that before, but like after 3 or 4 people say it, I'm like, okay, well, this is something, right? So I write that down in the pain book. And then what does the prospect think they need, right? They might think they need this, but they really need something else, right? And then what else do they need? So working in those stories to have them shift those mindsets. It's very important. That's where the real trust comes from, when you can get them to shift their mindset from what they think the problem is into realizing, oh my God, this is really what the problem is. Okay, got it? We're going to build out questions to expose, like I said earlier, the needs of your program, which would be the pillars. The pillars are going to fill those holes and gaps. Other things that you need to do on the call to be able to enroll people. One of them is the cost of inaction, right? It's very simple. The cost of inaction has to be greater than the cost of your program, than the cost of doing the work, than the cost of being uncomfortable, whatever that is, right? Because if it's not, they're never going to enroll. They're always going to choose comfort, right? So if it's more uncomfortable, not taking action than it is taking action, they take action. It's that simple. Another thing will work on with you is another thing called splitting the identity. You don't have to know what it means right now, but basically, it's I'm not going to get into it right now. It's an important thing to have people be able to be empowered at the end of the call so that they can enroll, right? It can't be all pain and weak and they can't do anything. They're helpless and never going to do anything, right? It's splitting their identity into 2 separate things. I'll go over that when we talk. Another thing is important on the calls, right? I want to give you the framework, but then also I got to give you the tools to navigate through it, right? So a lot of people either just miss things, right? They don't know which rabbit holes to go down. Some go down like everything is a rabbit hole and it just wastes time. The calls are super long and then they don't get anywhere. So knowing which rabbit holes to go down, when to go deep, when not to, right? We're going to go over that too. All right, owning the frame. Like this is super important. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but you'll get this. This is going to probably come out just from building everything out. It's really important, owning the frame, not just framing the call, not just the doctor frame, but we're going to get into this and the ins and outs of that. And then pre-framing, right? This is important as well. I don't know if I'm going to have time, but if I can get a handful of people, maybe like 4 or 5, I might do this. I might listen to your webinar, make sure your framing is good, like on high speed, and then check out your applications because you can eliminate a lot of objections with just an application. Like it's really crazy. We're going to get into that. So building an application that gets people to show up, it gets people to not use traditional BS smokescreen objections, right? Because most of the time, that's the thing you're going to learn. Most of the time you think you're getting an objection. It's not an objection. It's just a smokescreen because you missed something on the call. By building out the call framework and the process, you're not going to miss anything, right? If something's off, you're going to know it. And red flags, prospect, client, whatever, says things that your ears have to be tuned up. And you have to know where the red flags are to know, okay, man, this is a mindset issue right here that I need to handle right now because this is going to come up 20, 30, 40 minutes when we start talking about the money. And if I can't smash this mindset problem or it's going to turn into objection, right? I have to reframe that. And we'll get into that more, how to do all that stuff. But it's really important because there's signs early in the call, and that's why you get the objection at the end because you didn't handle it. And if you just try to handle it at the end, without doing the things along the way, it seems like out of the blue. Like everything is great. They give you objection and then it's not even confrontational, but it seems like it because it's so out of the blue because everything was all happy, happy, happy. There was no challenging things. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a way where you don't lose rapport, you actually gain rapport. And that's where the real trust comes in. Enrolling mindset. Mindset is an important thing. I always talk about skill set being really important, but mindset is super important. Especially in a rolling mindset. It has everything to do with not getting sold, being able to not take objections or complaints or smoke screens personally, and how to just have that frame of mind where you're just bulletproof. A bulletproof and rolling mindset, it's key. Having like rules and guidelines for the call, things that you will stand for, things that you don't stand for. You have to have some kind of a guideline. If something doesn't stick with it, like they don't comply, they're gone, right? You have to have that strong frame with that too, right? Like if personally, now, whatever people want to do, my clients want to do, I'll let them do what they want to do. But like if someone got on a call with me and didn't watch the whole webinar training, if I have a webinar training thing, I wouldn't take the call. I wouldn't. I would tell them to watch it and then book again. And if they say, no, I want to talk to you now, I'm saying like, it doesn't make sense. Because you're going to have to explain everything that they should have got from the webinar. They're going to be pre-framed, pre-sold, all that stuff. And then last but not least, we're actually going to build out the call framework. So it's going to be a lot simpler than these long scripts I see. Most people have, like I said, 20 plus pages, and they try to hit everything and all these things. So it's going to be super clear, super concise. It's all going to be based on your language, your words, what you would say, not what I would say. Not what would some other sales guru would say, right? This is why it works so good, is when you can be in full alignment with your words and your thoughts and what you're saying and you're believing it. It's easy, right? Because you're congruent. You're not feeling like a fake or a phony or a fraud or whatever it is, right? You can show up as yourself. And that's where the magic happens, right? The number one thing, you have to be present, obviously. And it's really hard to do that when you have a million things going on, when your head's in your script, when you're stuck in your head. We're going to show you how to be completely present, be completely authentic with the right words. Right? That's why I'm going to be really picky about who I work with here, because I don't usually do stuff for free. Right? And I want to turn it. I know I've had such great success with clients. I want to see if I can work it in, and based on working with you guys, I'll be able to create some processes and questions that I can put into a program that someone else can go through it by themselves. And then I don't have to do that all the time, right? I got it dialed in now. I just want to fine tune it I want to get different types of offers too, right? So not all the same kind of coach, all the same thing. I know it works for business coaches, super great. If you're a business coach, that's awesome. But all kinds of health coaches, fitness coach, anxiety person that deals with that, all kinds of stuff. Message me on Facebook if you're interested to be one of the 5. But it will require you getting on a call with me. And I'm not selling anything. Even after the thing, I'm not even asking for like a testimonial or anything. If you want to do it, cool. You probably feel guilty if you didn't, because it's seriously, I charge over 5 figures to work with people. And this is one of the first things we do. We build that out. And of course, like a huge part of my program is listening to the calls, doing the call breakdowns, and really finding the words. Like this is going to be like a nice call outline framework that you'll be able to fine tune as you go. But the structure is going to be solid. It's going to be great. You're going to be present. You're going to be able to really get through a lot of stuff and shorten your calls like crazy. Like seriously, like some people will be able to cut their calls in half because they're going to know exactly where to go, what to do, what to expose. And then when you have enough. Right? You don't have to force pain and all these other things that people do, which drives me nuts. It's just, I can't stand it. Like people don't have to be crying to enroll, okay? They can, and sometimes it's great. But the fact of the matter is they have to be balanced. They have to have enough pain to change, and they have to have enough power to go, right? Anyway, message me. I'm looking to do this in the next couple weeks, get it all set up. So I'm thinking the end of June possibly to do it. And I haven't decided yet if it's going to be like a 2-day thing or not. Once I get the first call with you and I can break down to the 3 to 5 pillars, then it's much easier, right? So I think I'm going to do individual calls to get that. And then a couple group calls, maybe 1 or 2. I'll work that out, all the details as we go. All right, that's enough. I'll talk to you guys later. If you're interested, send me a message. All right, thanks. Later.